In my last video, I talked about the phrase all lives matter and my reasons for not using it. It's a nice sentiment, but it's really not a good counterpoint to the phrase Black Lives Matter. All the same, I thought I might look up the hashtag All Lives Matter on Twitter just to see what people were saying. There were various uses of the phrase, and there was certainly some criticism of it, which I don't mind, when it makes sense. It's funny, though, when Black Lives Matter supporters try to turn the tables by using the same arguments that All Lives Matter uses against them. Turnabout may be fair play, but it doesn't always work. Something Black Lives Matter is often accused of is not being present where they're needed. For example, you hear a lot about the Louisiana floods right now, and Black Lives Matter apparently is not involved, and that upsets people. But in defense of Black Lives Matter, I'm not sure why people would expect them to be there for the Louisiana floods. Now, defending Black Lives Matter is not something I want to do. But I understand that Black Lives Matter is an organization with a specific set of goals. Or, maybe not a real specific set of goals, or even a clear set of goals, but they do have a direction, and natural disasters are not a part of their direction, or a part of their cause. The phrase Black Lives Matter sounds like a blanket philosophy covering all black lives, but Black Lives Matter isn't concerned with black lives in general. They're interested in injustices towards minorities. A flood is not a racial injustice, so they're not involved. There's nothing to protest. Not even Black Lives Matter would claim that the waters rose in a certain area because of a large black population. But while I don't think that Black Lives Matter has to be involved in the Louisiana floods in particular, I do agree with the larger complaint that Black Lives Matter does not have a reasonable set of priorities. They can certainly be counted on to ignore crime, and crime is a much bigger threat to black communities than the police. A lot of people say black-on-black crime, but I think it's more constructive to forget the black-on-black part and just point out that crime is an issue of overwhelming importance to black communities. It's the biggest threat there is to black lives. But Black Lives Matter would have us ignore that. Now that's a complaint. And here's a few tweets to illustrate that complaint. Where is Black Lives Matter now? Nearly 100 people shot in Chicago in less than a week. 2 6-year-olds shot this week in Philly. Where is Black Lives Matter? Where is Black Lives Matter now? Girl killed in high school bathroom fight had fingernails ripped out. Wasn't I talking about All Lives Matter, though? Let me get back to that. I read similar criticisms of All Lives Matter. To combat the criticism of their own movement, Black Lives Matter supporters try to show us that All Lives Matter isn't concerned in all the news it should be either. And here are a few tweets I chose to illustrate this, though there were quite a few others. I wonder where All Lives Matter is for this one. Florida woman was killed in police drill. Where's All Lives Matter now? Washington interracial couple stabbed by white supremacist for kissing. Where is All Lives Matter? FSU student storms out of restaurant, kills couple, eats victim's face. Where are the All Lives Matter people? After all, this is a white guy. Guess all lives don't matter. That's a brilliant tweet right there. The All Lives Matter crew don't really care. They should understand that if police officers do it to us, eventually, you'll be next. Now, I really hope that POs means police officers in that tweet, or I'm really confused. And that was in response to another tweet saying, where are the All Lives Matter folks on this? Cop kills white guy with hammer. Okay, that is a screwed up story. I don't know why a cop would kill someone with a hammer. But I also don't see what it has to do with All Lives Matter. That's a handful of examples. Where is All Lives Matter? Where is the outrage? Why doesn't All Lives Matter really care about all lives? And this is their idea of an intelligent counterpoint. So I'll try to humor them and explain it. Why don't all black lives seem to matter to Black Lives Matter? It's because, in spite of the name, Black Lives Matter is concerned with specific issues. All Lives Matter is similar. All Lives Matter is not some charitable organization that seeks to protect all lives everywhere. They're not going to collect donations for colon cancer, even though they think all lives matter. They're not going to start a suicide hotline, even if all lives matter. All Lives Matter is a counterpoint to Black Lives Matter. I find it funny that no one has ferociously typed "All Lives Matter" as a comment when people post "Blue Lives Matter." Well, for starters, some people try to avoid typing ferociously because it hurts our fingers. But even when it's typed civilly, "All Lives Matter" is not going to be used as a counterpoint to "Blue Lives Matter," because one of the reasons that All Lives Matter exists is to support law enforcement that falls under heavy criticism from Black Lives Matter. All Lives Matter, where are you when Indian country needs help? Or are you just pulling that shit because Black Lives Matter is a thing? Yes, you've got it. All Lives Matter only exists because many people disagree vehemently with the Black Lives Matter movement. They disagree with its methods and its goals. That's the point. That's what All Lives Matter is talking about. If Black Lives Matter doesn't have to protest every police shooting everywhere, and they don't, then All Lives Matter does not have to involve themselves in every and any tragic death everywhere either. Black Lives Matter exists, in their own view, to demonstrate the racial failings of society. All Lives Matter exists to demonstrate the moral failings of Black Lives Matter. You can't turn the tables on them by using this argument against them. All you can do is show that you don't understand their purpose. Or perhaps you might even be admitting that you believe that Black Lives Matter is above criticism. This last tweet was one that really got me. This is an attempt to turn the tables using such a spectacularly flawed and twisted argument that it's awe-inspiring. This is a news story about a white supremacist shooting a cop. Will All Lives Matter be blamed for inciting this? Nope, because different standards apply to Black Lives Matter. Different standards. In this case, I'm not seeing it, because there has been a lot of noise from Black Lives Matter supporters demanding dead cops. That's where the complaint comes from, that they incite violence. But how often do you hear supporters of All Lives Matter demanding the deaths of police officers? It is not commonplace for All Lives Matter supporters to call for violence against the police. In fact, I've never heard All Lives Matter inciting violence against the police, ever. So they can't be blamed for inciting this because they don't call for police shootings. Understand? It doesn't matter that this is a white guy killing a cop, and it certainly doesn't matter that it's a racist white guy doing the killing. Why would that make your point valid? Oh, but I see. All Lives Matter is obviously a racist phrase. I hear that a lot, and it's just not true. Disagreeing with Black Lives Matter is not racist. But to many Black Lives Matter supporters, questioning their group is racism. That's their defense, to claim that everyone, everywhere who does not stand with them is racist. Now, even though I don't use the phrase All Lives Matter, I've been accused of racism more than once just because I don't support Black Lives Matter. Of course, I've also been called a racist just because I don't like President Obama. It's pretty easy to become a racist these days. I'm sure I've been guilty of a great many microaggressions in the past 8 minutes.